RadioFreeFargo.org is streaming everywhere in this big blue and green marble that you rest on. Check us out. RadioFreeFargo.org, best independent radio station in the world, as far as I'm concerned. Right before me, side stage with Trav, 1 to 3. Then you got me, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. I'm Wilson. We talk about cannabis legalization, the benefits of cannabis in general, just general cannabis news, and we got some fun ones. Fun news stories regarding cannabis for you today when we open a big fat bag of cannabis news at 420. So at 420, that's when all the fireworks regarding cannabis news goes off. Boom, bang, boom. We got cannabis firecrackers. We got cannabis bottle rockets. We just got general cannabis news. I lied about the first two things. We got none of that. And I would imagine there's some crazy, intense liability issues of shooting, cannabis-related bottle rockets out the window of the studio downtown here in the heart of Fargo. This show is brought to you by Black Cottage Alchemy. Black Cottage Alchemy on Facebook, blackcottagealchemy.com. Or you can pedal on downtown or fly downtown or however you want to get downtown. Maybe you're downtown already. Head into Tochi Products and you can get this body butter. It's made with kosher, full-spectrum CBD, North Dakota grown hemp seed oil, 1,600 mgs of the CBD, mango butter, a bunch of butters in here, colloidal silver, coconut oil, comfrey, myrrh, blah-de-da-de-da. It's good for eczema, irritated skin, neuropathy, stretch marks, and the like. Tattoo aftercare for you tattoo people. Hey, it is what it is. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Every Thursday, I get in here 4 o'clock. Again, 420, open a big fat bag of cannabis news. And after me, get those plugs for your nose holes. We got Stinky Arts Music Mart. And now that I think about it and say it out loud, you probably want earplugs for your ears because this is a radio show. However, you still want to check in for it because it's a good time. 5 to 7, Stinky Arts Music Mart. After a month hiatus, so I'm excited to tell you that there will be a Stinky Arts Music Mart after me. And then Black Ring Ritual wraps up your Thursday. Don't forget Friday and the other days. I believe cannabis was created by God himself, who I worship every Sunday, Antioch Church, 11 a.m. I'm on stick duty, so come watch me flail. Parade of Lights this weekend. We're going to be out there slinging hot chocolate packets with an invite to church. So, you know what I mean? Maybe we'll see you out there. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson promotes cannabis and cannabis legalization. Again, we've got some fun stories at 420. We'll open a big fat bag of cannabis news. I hope everybody's doing great. I wasn't here last Thursday because it was Turkey Day and I was in Breckenridge. I went bowling. I want to tell each and every one of you that I bowled over 100. I know. If I had like a sound bite, woo, woo. People with ADD, if you're not great at something and you're not constantly rewarded and reinforced, bowling is just like a big heavy ball that never fits into your fingers right. It's fun for a while, and my tradition is the stinking Shirley Temps, and we got a picture of them, a big fat picture of the Shirley Temples for me and it would have been my niece and my nephew. And it was funny because my sister, after we'd polished off the picture of Shirley Temples, she asked us if we wanted another one. It's like, what? 2 pictures of Shirley Temples, man? I can't get down like that. I refuse to. That's way too much sugar. Like, my teeth hurt just thinking about it. But anyway, like I said, we got cannabis news stories lined up for you. We got some music we're going to play as well. And we just get settled in here. It's kind of a gloomy, windy day. However, yesterday was punchy, boy. Man, it was crispy. I keep saying crispy, and I mean chilly. Crispy indicates heat. I do the best I can. So, where are we? Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. After me, Stinky Arts Music Mart. Right before me was Side Stage with Trav. Canna-Talk ND on Instagram is where I post up things. And so, follow me there if you'd like. And I'll play a little music here for fun. I've got Son of a Preacher Man, Katie Seagal and the Forest Rangers. Notably, however, this is Peggy Bundy / the Three-Eyed Monster in Futurama. And I don't know, was she like the biker gang boss mama in Sons of Anarchy? But here's Son of a Preacher Man, done gospel, 95.9. Oh, yeah. And that's how you do it there. That's how you start it off, kids. Son of a Preacher Man, Katie Seagal, The Forest Rangers. That's from the Sons of Anarchy, seasons 1 through 4, if you're wondering. I just found it. And I thought it had a kind of like a bouncy Sunday morning feel with the hallelujah. So, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Every Thursday I get in here 4 o'clock. 4:20, open a big fat bag of cannabis news. And you can assure yourself that that's going to happen. We're going to talk about some fun things. Kind of some light-mooded cannabis news, except for the 4 murder execution style at a cannabis farm in Oklahoma. That story's a little heavy. I ain't gonna lie. I'll probably sandwich that in between a couple fun ones. Or I might just omit it. We'll see where we get to when we get to. Because programming on KRFF, LPFM, Radio Free Fargo, 95.9 FM is being underwritten by Flatland Guitar in Lutherie. Flatland Guitar is your full-service guitar shop and your exclusive dealer for Yamaha, Taylor, Paul Reed Smith guitars, and other brands. They sell guitars on consignment. They take trade-ins and have a full-service on-site repair center. Check out Flatland Guitar in Lutherie on Facebook or visit them in person at 1450 25th Street South in Fargo. Their hours are Monday through Friday, 10 to 6. Saturdays 10 to 5, and closed on the Lord's Day. Good for Flatland Guitar. And again, you're listening to 95.9 KRFF. RadioFreeFargo.org, streaming everywhere. You don't need a radio player. Get yourself a pewter with the things and the deal. You can clickety, and, listen to us. So, I found myself at kind of a 5-minute bumpy bump here. So, I'm going to just click this, and I'm going to read a few things for fun. This isn't your regularly scheduled 420 cannabis bag of news, but it's because I got nothing else to push, it was Measure 2, vote Measure 2, you know what to do. Well, as you know, that never made it through, and we're still illegal in the state of North Dakota for cannabis. However, Minnesota is going to expand its medical cannabis program. However, as you know, what's his name? The governor with the now democratically controlled whatever. Minnesota, I mean, man, you don't need to vote it in when you've got all those people pushing, And like I said, once we got that Paul Gazelka out of there, it's all groovy. But let's talk about this. Minnesota Department of Health, they've added OCD and irritable bowel syndrome to its list of qualifying conditions for medical cannabis. Now, I don't know about OCD. I mean, I know it's kind of a weird thing. Sometimes I think I have it, but I'm a weirdo. I think I got everything except for irritable bowel syndrome. I know I don't got that. I know I ain't got to that. You know what I mean? Mario. Anyway, what are we talking about? OCD, so that's cool. Minnesota's medical cannabis program was launched with just 9 qualifying conditions. Now, I don't know how many conditions there are in North Dakota. I don't know that there's more than 9. I believe they've added anxiety, but I don't think it's great. There are 19 conditions that qualify patients for access to the program, as opposed to 9, so that's good. The additions of that is OCD and IBS. Next August, we'll raise that total to 21. Now, regulators, they opted against adding opioid use disorder and gastroparesis, which I would think anything stomach-related would work with cannabis, but I don't know. A stomach and digestion-related condition to the list of qualifying conditions. Most Minnesotans have had the ability to self-medicate with cannabis since July 1, when the state legalized THC-infused gummies, which was hilarious, and similar products for adults aged 21 and older, because a lot of people didn't even realize what they were doing until it was too late, which is hilarious. But that hasn't slowed participation in the state medical cannabis program. More than 39,000 patients are actively enrolled in the Minnesota program. The report said it's up from 29,000 so in 2021. So that's, anytime you add a patient, it just proves the viability of cannabis for medical, which we all know that I know it. Do you know it, friends? Do you know it? Anyway, cannabis from New York's unlicensed shops test positive for E. coli and salmonella. Ooh, which means, oh man, they said about 40% of products bought from unlicensed cannabis shops tested positive for contaminants. So, legalize it, regulate it, problem solved. Am I right? Of course you're right. But anyway, Canna-Talk ND with Wilson, that's what you tapped into. We talk about cannabis legalization, the benefits of cannabis, and I just kind of like just blah, 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 blah. Rhode Island launches adult use cannabis sales today. Let's give Rhode Island a hand. They became the 19th state to legalize cannabis earlier this year. New York, they're still waiting. They legalized it a while back. They got trucks in Times Square. You can buy a T-shirt and get an eighth in the pocket. But, it's all like the regulatory. It's all about money and parameters. Setting up like money. It's all money. It's usually all money. The hassle and the setbacks are usually involving, I want 10%, you want 6, no, I want 8, you want 5, 9, 5, 6, 5. All right, let's do an amendment and we'll adjourn and reconvene in 6 years. Just look at Mexico. I mean, what a big joke. You should go down the rabbit hole and go back to when Mexico said they were going to legalize cannabis. Still not legalized, and they're still kind of like projecting. It's hilarious, really. But let's play a little tune, and then when we come back here, boom, it's going to be Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Here's Pick Me Up by Sun Squabby on 95.9. Okay, Pick Me Up featuring Russ Liquid. Excuse me, I apologize. Sun Squabby here on 95.9 KRFF, RadioFreeFargo.org, streaming everywhere in the world. This is the best radio station in the world, as far as I'm concerned. We're going to talk about cannabis and cannabis legalization, the benefits of cannabis at 420. So, if you've got a medical card, and you've got a freezer, and you got a glass tube, why don't you scurry on over to it, open it up, grab some ice, stick it in the tubey tube. If you got a medical card, because we're here to change the law, not break the law. And in fact, it is time to fire up the Q song. Here it comes. Oh, yes. It's like a comfortable sweater. We'll see you on the other side of this. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson, 95.9.
Hey, it's Phil from Canna-Heads. Like this episode? Hit that like button. And if you enjoy the show, hit that subscribe button to stay up to date on cannabis news, local and national. Listen live on 95.9 in the Fargo, North Dakota region from 4 to 5 p.m. on Thursday. For our non-Fargo region friends, you can listen on your favorite podcast platform. Just search Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Now enjoy the show.
Hey, everybody. How's it going? Hey, I just want to say that this is probably the first time in years that I've started right at 420. I don't know what that means, and I don't know that anybody cares. I certainly don't, and time is just time in a space loop continuum. Am I right? Anyway, we're going to talk about cannabis. We've got several articles here that I believe will tickle your tantalizer. I don't know. That's probably not the right pronunciation and emphasis of the syllables. But anyway, let's talk about this. South Dakotans for Better Cannabis Laws. I'm on the Facebook page here. They posted just a few days ago about taking the first steps towards placing a new recreational cannabis legalization initiative on the 2024 ballot when there will be real turnout that actually reflects the will of the people of South Dakota. Now, happy Thanksgiving. I don't know what that means. But anyway, so they... it's going to happen. So anyway, let's see. What did this Christopher guy said? He goes, we'll see, I suppose. Not super confident. People didn't show up in 2022. I voted twice for it. Now I got to vote 3 times and be treated like a criminal until it passes. Anyway, shout out to them. And again, nobody's going to lay down. We're not going to lay down in North Dakota. We're going to have something else that, we can mess with. Now, this is from High Times, and here's where the exciting, fun stuff comes in. A wedding guest files lawsuit over cannabis-infused reception food. Now, this story is crazy. First of all, because they omitted the fact that all this food was jacked with cannabis. I mean, there's so many variables and variations. I mean, I believe it should be legalized. I don't think it's, it's not dangerous. But it's a little unnerving to start feeling a particular way and you don't know why, or if you've never done it before, or you don't believe in doing it, or you think it's a sin. There's like all kinds of stuff. Contraindication. You're just not into cannabis. If you'd have known, you'd have ate the chicken instead of the beef cutlets. You know what I mean? So this is a crazy story, so we'll talk about it. A woman who attended a Florida wedding earlier this year has filed a lawsuit against the caterer, allegedly that the business served food infused with cannabis at the reception. Virginia, the plaintiff, says that she became immediately ill after unknowingly eating food that was laced with poisonous amounts of cannabis. Now, everybody knows that word is a lie. It's not poison. It's not poisonous. There's not. It's organic. There's nothing. It's a plant. The wedding was held on February 19th in Florida, right by Orlando. Several guests reported that they felt high or stoned at the reception following the ceremony. EMS and the coppers arrived on the scene to render aid, eventually taking several guests to a local hospital for treatment. Police report filed after the wedding revealed that the food served at the event was sent to a lab for testing. The reports of the lab showed that the lasagna and the bread served at the celebration tested positive for, you guessed it, THC. They filed suit in Seminole County and her company, Jocelyn Southern Kitchen, asserting that she had no idea that the food served at the wedding reception contained cannabis. Complaint filed in the suit alleges that Taylor suffered from cannabis poisoning, which everybody knows is a lie. The lawsuit requests a jury trial. They want more than $30,000 in damages, which is a little crazy. Bryant knew or should have known that allowing the food served by the kitchen to be laced with cannabis was reasonably likely to cause injuries and damages to the wedding guests. And the fact that nobody had the choice to decide is crazy. I mean, you drugging your guests? That's wild. It's wild, right? So, affidavits filed in the case allege that the Savoboda agreed to and allowed Jocelyn, the food lady, to lace the food she served with cannabis unbeknownst to the attendees, many of whom become very ill and required medical attention. When a deputy asked the bride and her new hubby whether they had requested or consented to the food being infused, Andrews stared at the deputy with a blank expression for a few minutes before stuttering through a no. Lab tests showed 3 wedding guests had urine tests that were positive for cannabis. And again, if you're a truck driver and all of a sudden you got to hit DOT, it's crazy. So when a woman asked the caterer if the food contained cannabis, Bryant giggled and shook her head yes. According to the affidavits, one woman told an investigator that while she was at the hospital, she felt paranoid, believed her husband wasn't telling her the truth about other family members. Okay. All right. Anyway, what did I just do? I just texted a personal text. Defendants face food tampering charges. It's the Florida's Anti-Tampering Act covers tampering with food as well as tampering with certain types of drugs. Local law enforcement officers will investigate any such allegation and take swift action. These crimes can be charged as a 3rd degree, 2nd degree, or 1st degree felony. Well, okay. Well, let's keep cruising, should we? Now, what do we got here? This is young Americans far more likely to smoke cannabis and cigarettes. A new analysis of the latest Gallup poll found that Americans aged 18 to 29 are far more likely to smoke cannabis. A new survey, according to the analysis, dropped from 15% to 2018 to just 12%. Cannabis consumption increased from 21 to 26. On average, Gallup found that 27% of Americans either smoke cigarettes, use tobacco, vapes, or smoke cannabis from 2022. And of that segment, 7% of respondents smoke cannabis alone. And 3% smoked only e-cigarettes. Losers. So, here we got from High Times. Vets in South Carolina push for medical cannabis. We should have our choice of medical treatments, says one former Marine. Here. A number of military veterans in South Carolina are pushing lawmakers in the state to legalize medical cannabis. Local news station reports this week on the group of vets who say it needs to be a top priority for lawmakers when they return to the State House in January, after several proposals were stopped in their tracks earlier this year. No one has died from an overdose with cannabis ever. For a former member of the Marine Corps told the news station, he says, "For me, I can say it definitely helps me go to sleep and stay asleep and alleviate a lot of nightmares." So, give it to him. Stinking give it to him today, right now. Drive it over to his house right now. I say this is the land of the free and the home of the brave, and we were the brave ones, says Callerman. We should have our choice of medical treatment. I mean, I've been hollering that, seems like forever. It's the land of the free and the home of the brave, and he was the brave one. He is the brave one. He's the war hero. He's the hero that we deny medicine for, that he claims works. Well, we're not going to believe the guy that was over there fighting for our freedoms? Ridiculous. Another veteran named Robert told the station that the idea of us not allowing veterans to have access to these tools is something that we need to remedy immediately. And he's right. It's definitely one of those things that if you use it along with counseling, for example, has the potential to have profound effects. He's right. Lawmakers in South Carolina considered a medical bill earlier this year. The legislation won approval in the Senate, but in May it was voted down in the state House of Reps. What? That's kind of backwards, isn't it? Sponsor of the bill, Republican state senator, has been in the vanguard of the effort to legalize medical cannabis treatment in the state for years. If you pound at the door long enough, if you make your case, if the public is asking for something, the state senate owes a debate. The people of South Carolina deserve to know where their elected officials stand on this issue. So after the legislation was approved, Davis commended his colleagues, even those that were opposed to the bill. I mean, they could have just been opposed. They could have ranted against it. They could have tried to delay things. They didn't. They expressed their concerns, but what they did is dug in and tried to make the bill better. And so what you saw over the last 3 weeks is what's supposed to happen in a representative democracy. But in May, the bill was still rejected by its counterparts in the House of Rep by a vote of 59-55. We suffered a setback procedurally in the House. I can't cry about it. I can't pout about it. I'm liking this Davis guy. I can't come back and lash out and try to hurt other people's bills. That's not productive. I just need to find out a way to get this thing on the merits up or down in the House, and that's what I'm going to be working on. Should lawmakers take up the proposal in the upcoming session, there will be opposition. I know a lot of veterans that are not sitting down eating gummy bears laced with cannabis. We've got enough drugged up people in America as it is. Well, Dabney, a veteran himself, who said he intends to oppose the next legislation. It was going to be another government program and a huge boondoggle. I mean, a boondoggle where you'd have more than 400 dispensaries across the state. That was further reason for me to vote against it. This is Dabney. First of all, he's got the word dab in his name. What is wrong? Dabney is against cannabis? Really? Dabney? Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Every Thursday, get in here, 4 o'clock. 4:20, open a big fat bag of cannabis news, and that's what we're right up into our nipples on into. KRFF 95.9 is the station in which you can hear this. RadioFreeFargo.org is streaming wherever if you want to check it out there. Let's keep cruising. Now, we're getting into the fun stuff. Well, let's talk about this. This ain't as fun, but we'll talk about it quick. This is from Cannabis Moment. And it affects our neighbors to the south. South Dakota medical cannabis patients won't be denied hunting license. Well, that's good, isn't it? If they just simply have a medical cannabis card, 1, we wouldn't check that, but 2, it wouldn't prevent them from getting a license. Sioux Falls lawyer Ryan typically doesn't deal with legal questions about hunting license. Criminal defense attorney did field multiple calls on the topic. They started coming in shortly after it became clear that the voters had voted to reject the legalization of cannabis because, in fact, if recreational cannabis was legal, there wouldn't be an issue, about it. Each question had the same framing since federal law prohibits gun ownership by habitual users, which we really got to change the terminology, or users of any substance federally classified as illicit, and that's another problem. Would they be able to obtain a cannabis card and a hunting license? You have to register with the state to use cannabis, which is different from any other medication. People were wondering if the state of South Dakota would be trusted. Could be trusted, basically. The callers had waited out the election. Colbeck said hoping a win for cannabis would preclude them from applying for a medical cannabis card. Question was based more on speculation and suspicion of lawmakers than any official guidelines, which again, when the legislative government consistently pulls the football away from Charlie Brown, you don't trust the government to keep the football there. You just don't. In Minnesota, concerns over gun permits sparked the introduction of a bill that would have reclassified cannabis to allow medical users to own firearms. In Oregon, the state pharmacy board reclassified the drug as Schedule 2 in part to clear a path for firearms permits. The question of hunting license losses or even a loss of gun rights is theoretical, according to cannabis activist Matthew Schweck. Even so, Schweck is unsurprised to hear that the question arose in South Dakota. It really is just a question of whether the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms would try to get records from states on medical cannabis and use them to say that someone was dishonest on the forms. Okay. Now, let's get to the fun stuff, should we? Now, this is from High Times. This is a fun one. Police in India say rats ate more than 1,100 pounds of confiscated weed. That's right. Police in India say rats, and sure, of course, sure. That's when the cops are winking at you, right? They're like, I think the rats ate all the weed. Wink, wink. It's like how much cannabis can a rat eat if a rat eats cannabis? You know what I mean? How many pounds of cannabis can a rat eat? Pounds of cannabis. I was trying to make a limerick. I can't do it. Anyway, let's read this stinking story. We have all heard of the dog who ate the homework. But rats who ate the cannabis? That's a new one. But it is apparently the account that has been offered up by law enforcement officials in India who are blaming the pesky rodents for getting their fangs on some seized cannabis. CNN has the weird and disgusting details, reporting on court documents that spell out the damage that rats have imposed on confiscated contraband in northern India. The network quotes a court in the city of Mathura, Uttar Pradesh, which noted that local police were unable to furnish almost 200 kilograms of confiscated cannabis that was supposed to be used as evidence in a recent case. So where is it? Where's our 200 kilograms? Well, rats are small animals and they aren't scared of the police, the court said, quoted by CNN. Court documents said the police have been asked to provide 386 kilograms of cannabis, but the prosecution flagged to the court that more than 700 of cannabis stored in various stations across town could be impacted by the rat infestation. And apparently this isn't the first time that the rats have struck the cannabis bags. The judge hearing the case cited the police as blaming the rodents for destroying a total of more than about 1,100 pounds of cannabis that had been seized in various cases and stored at the city's Shergar and Highway Police Station. It should be noted that not everyone accepts that version of events. I'm not going to lie, I'm a little hesitant to believe that these rats ate 1,100 pounds of cannabis. And you can't tell. I would think it'd be like ratatouille up in that sucker. They'd be eating, that'd just be noodles getting just sucked off of plates in the restaurants. But anyway, there was no reference, and you can't test them, can you? You find one and test one. There was no reference to rats in the report. The police only mentioned that the seized cannabis was destroyed in the rains and flooding. Okay, so India's laws on cannabis are spelled out in the Narcotics, Drugs, and Psychotropic Substances Act. According to the website, the law prohibits the sale and use of cannabis resin and flowers, but it permits the use of its seeds, stems, and leaves. In 2019, with concerns surrounding vaping mounting around the world, India issued a ban on electronic cigarettes. Unfortunately, e-cigarettes got promoted initially as a way in which people can get out of the habit of smoking cigarettes. I don't know what we're talking about, but that's the story for you, folks. Now, let's see what else we got here. Burglars steal fake gummies during dispensary smash and grab. Thieves made off with boxes of fake gummies and display packaging during a botched dispensary burglary last week in Portland, Maine. Would-be cannabis burglars who broke into the Sweet Dirt dispensary last Friday morning ultimately smashed up some of the shop's display cases and made off with a box of fake gummies and display packaging. Portland police said only display products were stolen during the botched burglary, and none of the stolen products contained THC or other cannabinoids. The suspects, two identified males, have not been apprehended by the law enforcement. Investigation is ongoing. What? Sweet Dirt, located at 1297 Forest Avenue, said it was forced to close due to unforeseen circumstances, according to the report. Company's senior vice president told reporters that the adult use retailer's actual cannabis products and other valuable merchandise had been locked in a safe at the time of the burglary. Traditional banking services remain largely unavailable to cannabis industry operators due to the ongoing federal prohibition of the plant. And we all know that. So, here's a fun story, high times. You guys are going to love it. Are you guys ready for it? Buddhist temple left empty after monks failed drug test. It's off to rehab for the monks. A Buddhist temple in Thailand, Thailand is like Minnesota of the world. They really didn't know what they were doing, and they just opened the floodgates of cannabis legalization. You can be out in public. They say, no, you can't. You can have all the plants you want. They go, that's not what we meant. It's a big debacle. But, it should be called Highland, if you ask me. Thailand has it's opened a can of worms over there. But anyway, a Buddhist temple in Thailand is even quieter than usual these days after several monks there failed the drug test. Agency France reports that a total of 4 monks, including an abbot, whatever that means, at a temple in Phrakhtaban province, Bung Sam Phan district, tested positive for meth on Monday. Come on, an abbot? Tweaked out abbot, huh? Well, Boonlert Thintaptatipai Probably pronounced that wrong. An official in the central Thailand district told France Press that the temple is now empty of monks and nearby villagers are concerned they cannot do any merit making after the 4 monks were sent to a drug rehab clinic. Merit making involves worshippers donating food to monks as a good deed. Boonlert said more monks will be sent to the temple to allow villagers to practice their religious obligations. Thailand is a major transit country for meth, flooding in from Myanmar's troubled Shan State via Laos, according to the United Nations Office on Drugs. On the street, pills sell for less than 20 baht, around 50 cents. Authorities across Southeast Asia have made record meth seizures in recent years. The raid of the temple comes at a turbulent moment for the country and its enforcement of drug laws. In June, Thai lawmakers passed a measure that removed cannabis from its list of prohibited drugs, making it the first Asian country to decriminalize weed, and it's been crazy ever since. But the new laws resulted in ambiguity and frustration for government officials. Again, they're the Minnesota of the world. The new law made it legal to cultivate both cannabis and hemp, but it also opened the door for restaurants to serve food and drinks containing THC. These cannabis cafes have sprouted up in recent months, much to the chagrin. I said chagrin. Yes, I did. I said it. Of Thai officials. Yes or no? Thai Health Minister Anutin Shabaraki said in the summer when asked whether rec cannabis would be allowed. We still have regulations under the law that control the consumption, smoking, or use of cannabis products. But the cannabis cafes have been a boon for the country's tourism industry, with foreign travelers eager to catch a buzz in the Southeast Asian state. That, too, has drawn pushback from the Thai government. We don't welcome those kind of tourists, Newton said. A Newton's law. After the new law was passed in June, Newton said the goal is never to open the door for recreational use. Well, what were you doing then? I mean, what was the goal? Thailand will promote cannabis policies for medical purposes, Newton said at the time. If tourists come for medical treatment or come for health-related products, then it's not an issue. But if you think you want to come to Thailand just because you heard that marijuana is legal, or come to Thailand to smoke a little joint, that's wrong. Don't come. We won't welcome you if you just come to this country for that purpose. Physicians in the country have also objected to the new law. In July, more than 850 doctors in Thailand signed a petition calling on more stringent rules and restrictions. Cannabis was removed from the Public Health Ministry's narcotic list. Well, good for them. But no policies have been launched to control the use of cannabis for personal pleasure. This lack of legal direction makes cannabis more accessible for children and teens. The group of doctors argued that the government-related department should stop threatening people's health as soon as possible. Okay. So, I have this last article. So, I'm going to read the title. This is from ganjapreneur.com. And we'll kind of play around with it a little bit, because I certainly, and I know I'm preaching to the choir. I know everybody believes cannabis should be legalized that's listening, and to the one guy that doesn't believe, so I don't know that this article is going to set the fire that's going to shut down all the cannabis progress. However, this really, we could argue this has nothing to do with the legality of cannabis. This is just gnarly crime. You know? So anyway, 4 people were just murdered execution style on Oklahoma cannabis farm. Predictably, of course, local media reports in the area are now playing up the dangers of legalization and diving into anti-immigrant tropes. Because apparently, people working these gnarly, non-regulated farms are Chinese immigrants. And, I mean, depending on who you ask, I mean, fentanyl was synthesized in China and has come up through Mexico. Read Son of War. I mean, I'm not saying they're doing it on purpose, but I guarantee you they're not ignorant to the results that could happen from flooding fentanyl into the U.S. via China. And I mean, I'm just an entertainment show, so I don't have to have references. You know what I'm saying? But Google it. Look it up. I mean, I ain't lying. I ain't lying. A tragic turn of events took place on Oklahoma cannabis farm where 4 people were executed, according to law enforcement. The suspect was inside that building for a significant amount of time before the executions began. Based on the investigation, this does not appear to be a random incident. And again, I would argue that has nothing to do with cannabis per se, as it is the stigma around it. And if it was legal, this wouldn't be an issue. And even if it was legal, these things can still be an issue, because this isn't about cannabis. This is about control and violence. Allegedly, on Sunday at about 5:45, the murderer, a man, entered a building located on the 10-acre Kingfisher County cannabis grow operation. Farm stands some 55 miles away from OK City. Officials say the murders were conducted in the style of an execution. Dare I say, Chinese execution. On Monday, the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation received reports of a hostage situation at the farm. It was definitely not random. It appeared to be a purposeful act. So while I would encourage people to remain vigilant, and I can't ever say it's not a danger to the public, it wasn't random. So this has nothing to do with cannabis per se. Law enforcement has declined to release the name. An arrest warrant was reported to be issued. The killings took place at a crucial moment for cannabis in Oklahoma. March, state voters will decide whether to legalize rec some 5 years after the state legalized medicinal. I didn't even know that recreational wasn't even legal there. I think it's just because medicinal is so easy to get a hold of. Already, the incident has given anti-legalization media reports fodder. Ever since they passed that law, I was afraid this was going to happen, said a neighboring farmer named David. What is known is that the victims were 4 Chinese citizens, 3 men and 1 woman, who state police were shot. A 5th victim was wounded and was brought to a hospital for medical care via air flight. Victims' names have not yet been released because police say there have been language barriers involved in notifying their next of kin. In recent years, large swaths of the U.S. cannabis industry have become dependent on the labor of Chinese immigrants. In the unlicensed industry, many have been coerced into exploitive labor conditions and left with no legal recourse. Brian made comments about those working on the farm could be seen as fitting into stereotypical tropes about emotionless Chinese people. He said they were very sinister, very private. You couldn't get them to waive or anything. They had a gate that kept closed unless they were coming or leaving, but yeah, I never had a good feeling about it. A spokesperson for the Oklahoma Medical Cannabis Authority told CBS News that the farm where the quadruple murder took place does have a license for medicinal cannabis cultivation. So that is a crazy story, and that brings us to the end of another Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. I'm Wilson. Every Thursday I get in here 4 o'clock, 4:20 open, a big fat bag of cannabis news. We talk about stuff like rats eating 1,100 pounds of cannabis in stinking India. I don't know. I mean, what do you think? Do you believe it? I mean, I feel like if rats ate that much, there would be some sort of way to prove it. You know what I'm saying? Programming on 95.9 Radio Free Fargo, KRFFLP has been underwritten by Drummer's Journey. Drummer's Journey offers percussion instruments, hardware, electronics, accessories, and more. They have full service for drummers, including repair, custom building, and lessons. Drummer's Journey is located at Highway 10 East Mall in Moorhead, Minnesota. Their hours are Monday through Thursday, 11 to 7. Fridays and Saturdays, 11 to 5. Sundays, noon to 5. For more info, check drummersjourney.com. They have a profile on Facebook. All right. Well, I think I'm going to play a little ditty for y'all. We'll come back. We'll tuck in. And then it's Stinky Arts Music Mart. Here is 1993 Fish Horn. You're welcome. Stinking Car Horn by Fish, 1993 off the Rift album. You're welcome. Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Every Thursday I get in here, 4:20 open a big fat bag of cannabis news, and boy oh boy did we have some fun today, didn't we? I'll be back next Thursday. On deck here, Stinky Arts Music Mart. My nose is twitching. He's in the building. So you're in luck. You're welcome. This is the best radio station in the world as far as I'm concerned. This show is brought to you by Black Cottage Alchemy, blackcottagealchemy.com, Black Cottage Alchemy on Facebook. Black Cottage Alchemy also has their products downtown here, kosher. Downtown Atochi products here. It's made with kosher, full spectrum CBD, 1,600 mgs of the CBD. It works for hydration of the face and hair and feet and toe fungus. It helps, stretch marks, that sort of thing. So thank you, Black Cottage Alchemy, for sponsoring Canna-Talk ND with Wilson. Again, educate yourself on the benefits of cannabis so you can educate others on the said benefits. I'm going to scurry out here a little bit early because I have stuff to do, but I'll leave you in good hands at Stinky Arts Music Mart. I'll be back next Thursday. Until then, David Allen, Judgment Day. Peace.